Open Fight Night at the Dirtbag Casino by Gordon B. White. When I open my eyes, Friday night is already spreading above this pinch of an alley like a bruise beneath a fingernail. A quick check-in reveals a few more scrapes and a few less teeth than the last go-around, but I get that familiar tremor of anticipation just before the streetlights start popping on like flashbulbs for the knockout punch. I make a bead for the main drag to get my bearings, and then I'm off, babies, after the fights, because it's Friday night, and tonight's the night I'm finally gonna kill Tommy Marone. The rebel call him Tommy the Truck, a big bastard, hands like dumpsters, and a Porta-John face pasted over with a regular city transit map of scars. A lesser Catskills of contusions and dents crosses the top of his skull. He's not pretty, but he's the champ down at the casino, and it isn't a kissing booth they're running. It takes more than a few seasick stumbles to get these legs beneath me, but that's the story just about every Friday. Another spin of the wheel, another down, another out, another chance next week. Just wake up, readjust, reorient, and head back on down to the casino. It isn't really a casino, although they probably got marked cards and stepped on cocktails on the other side of the chicken wire that separates spectators from the pit. I don't recall ever being on that side. No, I know the back door and the meat locker and the doorway up to the pit itself, and babies do I know the pit. That 15-foot circle of plywood, extra absorbent kitty litter, and enough blood to choke a horse. You know, if horses drank blood. I also know there are two ways out of the pit. First is upright through the doors that the truck comes in, back into his green room and who knows what luxuries. Other way out, you go lying down. I've never been the former, and as many times as I've been the latter, it isn't exactly a thing that a body remembers. Gotta stay positive, though. Tonight's still a chance, even if I'm starting to realize this old body has seen better days. There's a hitch in the step that I can't quite figure, and the winking scabs across these arms are aching for something more than sweet revenge. No, sir, not a looker, and maybe not, as showtime approaches, enough to get it done. God damn. But it's Friday night, and there ain't shit else to do. Besides, this might still be the night I get one over on the truck. You never know at the casino, right? It's that chance that keeps me going, that makes every turn downright intoxicating. Before I can get in, though, a rundown of my pockets turns up empty, and if I know Don, the Friday night back door man, just getting in, especially in this shape, is going to take some extra grease. So I stop by the alley caddy corner from the casino to hit up this loose brick that serves as my personal bank and concierge. It's near this filthy ethnic restaurant that must be real authentic, since it always smells like garlic and dirt herbs back there. Sometimes it makes me hungry, sometimes it makes me sick, but I've never been by here other than on Friday, and my Fridays are always booked. Just a quick stop to jiggle the masonry out of joint and make a deposit if I wake up flush, or a withdrawal if I'm broke. Tonight I notice, as I pull out the wadded bills from their hidey hole, that the till is looking a bit undernourished. Well, I'd make a note to refill it, but that's not as much up to me as I'd like. All a matter of chance, really. The casino's back door is thick and cold, and when I give it the old 1-2 knock, the little peephole slides open to treat me to doorman Don's piggy eyes. They squint almost closed as he gets a whiff of me, even through the metal and the deadbolts. "Beat it, bum," the Don says. "We don't do charity." "I'm here for the fight," I say. "We do this song and dance every week, and this is always my job." "Don't know what you're talking about." That's his feint. "Of course you do," I say, throwing it out there. "The old grab and tickle, the punch and scrape." Don's ignorance is a test. Some light sparring to keep the Jamokis at bay, so I don't mind the give and take. "No fights here," he says right on cue. "Don't know you or what you're saying." Now comes the entry fee. I peel out the bills as smooth as these damn jitterbug hands will let me. Not loving the odds tonight, but this is the game. All on me, I push the cash towards the slot to kill the truck. Don backs away just a little, which a passer-by might think was due to his delicate sensibilities. Or maybe his nose, because Christ, I'm right, but we've done this Friday night, bob and weave, as long as I can remember, so I know what to say next. Minus whatever cover you think is fair. That's the open sesame that makes Don the genie, that grants my wish. The cash disappears, and the locks give me a slow applause as Don undoes them one by one. I take my first, and hopefully not last, victory walk of the evening through the open door. Thank you, Don. I doff the pretend cap down into a mock bow. How do you dirtbags always know my name? He grumbles. It's only me, Don. I hold up my hands in mock surrender, but leave them up so he can pat my body down. Luckily, there's no surprises for us. Afterwards, he goes to wipe his hands on his pants, but stops, disgusted. Instead, he holds them out like dirty diapers, then hooks a thumb off down one of the dim halls. The bare bulbs flicker in their joy to see me again. Hit the showers, skies. I know the drill, Don, I say, already on my way. How? There's a sharper edge in his voice than just the weariness I'm used to. How would you know the drill? Maybe I pushed him too far. Come a bit too close to revealing my hand. No sense in jinxing it. Sorry, boss, I say, just cracking wise. Don's not the brightest bulb in the shed, but that bit of bow and scrape sets him right. He grunts to let me know it's satisfactory, but oh, poor Don, if only he knew. Down the hall, into the shower, where the water runs black off of me, and then into the meat locker room. A roll of tape and a pair of gym shorts wait for me, so I get dressed and wrap my hands. Sealed away in this pre-fight limbo, waiting for the pit crew to let me out onto the killing floor, I work myself into God's own frenzy. I swing my arms, stomp my feet, and suck in fast, ragged breaths like a bilge pump that sucks up memories out of the deep recesses and spews them all over the locker room's echo chamber. Sometimes I can even sift out which ones are mine. How did I end up here? Why is it that I'm here to kill the truck, to rip his face off, gouge his eyes out, dig my fingers into the root of his tongue and pull it out and eat it? Well, believe you me, babies, I got a damn good reason, and I got a plan to give it to the truck just before I burst his eardrums and suck them out of his skull. So, don't you worry. You'll all hear it too. For now, though, the why isn't as important as the what. I picture every bloody drop of my vengeance turning the burner under that smoldering anger up to gut-melting, lava-shitting rage. These veins are empty sewer lines, but the bile keeps backing up, churning and roiling, until my kidneys empty all that adrenaline into me at once, like the pressure release of the Hoover Dam. My leftover teeth grind against each other until one of them cracks, panther pacing the room, when the pit door opens and that first bit of fluorescence peeks its head around. I burst forth into the light like an avenging angel. The crowd roars as I enter, those glorious bastards. There's probably some kind of pre-fight announcement, a pomp to this circumstance that drums the crowd into a frenzy, but it's over by the time they turn me loose. The crew learned long ago to let the truck have his little moment before they open my door, since I don't tend to do much standing around. I come careening out and crash into the truck like an unlicensed cab on the crosstown. He's got size and strength and probably skill, but I got frenzy, babies. Like the man said, I don't know karate, I know psychotic. Haymakers, rabbit punches, open hand slaps, and elbows and knees. I'm giving him the kitchen sink, but he's shaking it off. He laughs, that ugly baby face of his split in pure mirth, the dark stubble of his head making him look like a scrotum. One of my blows catches Lucky, though, and splits his big lip in a different way, kissing my fingers red. You like that? My smile replaces his. Does it help you remember? But he's got no answer, just roars and lunges. I step back out of what I thought was a grab, but instead he stomps on my foot and 1,000 tiny bones all shatter. I'm pinned as his fist clubs down like a lamppost onto my hood, scraping just as much as it bashes, which is a lot. The searing pain opens like a curtain, but the truck knuckles my gut like pizza dough, and the air that comes up brings along equal parts blood and vomit. The truck grins and shakes his head. Don't know what you're talking about. He grips my lower jaw with the hook of his hand, sinking those pliers he calls fingers into the soft parts between tongue and chin. Maybe you should just shut up. I wish I had more teeth so I could bite him, but it isn't meant to be. Instead, he digs in and starts pulling, puts a foot on my chest, and then something comes loose, and he's made me into a waterfall. Things are going dim as he holds my jaw above my head, the skin flapping off it like a banner. The crowd roars as I die again. The bastards. I can't tell you where I go. In between, somewhere green and bright that sounds like 1,000 cars all rushing past me on a freeway. It feels like being in the wake of all these vessels, swaying around and buffeting me, but it's not frightening. I know I can move on whenever I want. In fact, on the horizon is a speck of blue, just a teardrop, but I know that, if I wanted, I could reach out and touch it and leave this all behind, but I don't. Because there's another Friday every week, babies. So instead, I take a swan dive into the traffic, and whichever passing car hits me first is the ride I get tonight. My next ticket into the casino and into the pit. Spin the wheel, babies. Back to the city and another Friday night to kill or be killed by the truck. Another Friday, and from the body I'm in, it's ladies' night. We don't let dames fight, what Don says. Why? Is this America? Who are you, lady? Fuck your mother. I say, minus a cover. My money is in Don's hand and the door is open. Before I can finish my usual repartee, he thumbs towards the shower. As I'm scrubbing down, I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and damn, if I weren't me. The things I do to me, actually, I might even do them to myself as myself if I had more time, but I'm already in the locker room, and the memories are swirling. New ones from this body joining the peanut gallery of all the others, and then the doors are open. Into the pit, though, the cat calls from the weasel crowd are lewd enough to make these ears burn, but I don't give him nothing more than I would any other Friday, which is everything I got covered in blood. I give the truck a few good claws, and he takes them like a gentleman. There's a look in his eye, far away, sad maybe, but a knee to his groin brings him back to it sweet. He growls, and then just a few real punches to the fragile bones of this face puts me down. He fish hooks my cheek and tears it wide, splitting my pretty mouth to the cheekbone. The pain is a raggedy thing, but it's this strange feeling of cool air on the exposed gums, something where it has no business being. That's the worst part of it all, beneath the familiar calls of the crowd. He crushes my throat, and the darkness zippers my eyes. Spin the wheel again. God damn it. Some nights are clear, losers. Sometimes, like the gambler says, you gotta know when to fold 'em. Example for you. It's Friday night, and I look down at this frail, tiny body, and shit. It can't be more than, what, 6 years old? 7? There's no way this is getting out of the apartment, much less into the casino, never mind the pit. What a waste, I think, as I look out the bedroom window over the city below, and all its tiny lights, blinking on and off like angels getting and losing their wings. A real crying shame, I think, as I undo the child safety bars. But there's nothing to be done. It's not until I feel the wind pushing past me and see the ground rushing up like the truck's fists that I realize I don't even know if I was a boy or a girl this time. Wouldn't have mattered, but still, I'm curious. The blackness bursts from every pore of my body, like a new Big Bang, and then it's time again. It's not like I have to keep going back. There isn't some silver tether or ancient curse that binds me to the pit that keeps me circling the truck, throwing body after body against it. That's just me. In fact, just between us, one time, one Friday, I didn't come down here at all. No, sir. I came to in this nice little house just outside the city. Oh, sure, I could have caught the rail and been at the casino with time to spare, but as I was getting my shoes on and letting that body guide me to its keys and its wallet, this guy's wife comes home, and I mean, I'd probably never seen her before, but there was something about her. A way that her red hair set off against her pale skin, a small gap between her teeth, a mole just under her left eye. This accumulation of all these little details reminded me of someone or someones I must have known, because for once I felt like I was home. She smiled when she saw me, and that part of her husband still inside responded. And that part that's always me, always ready to kill the truck, well, that went quiet too. I'll have dinner ready soon, she said. Are you going somewhere? No, we said. We didn't make it to the fights that night. I don't know who, if anyone, knocked on the casino's door, made it their way into the pit, whose blood, if any, spilled that night for the hungry crowd. For a little while, I didn't care. It was a good, soft weekend. I let the body do its routines. Woke up in the morning, went to work on Monday, and I checked out dreaming of the woman waiting for us. That feeling of being somewhere, of being someone with a place to be, it was nice. But it was boring, too. So boring. By Wednesday, we were fighting. By Thursday, we were violent. And come Friday morning, I didn't bother showing up for work, but got good and drunk and took out all the money I could from my bank account. Friday night, I was back at the door, begging for Don to let me in, give me one more shot at him. That one went down like the others, another body crushed under the truck, but letting me loose, giving me another chance to spin the wheel. I don't have a way to keep track of how many times we've done this. No bedpost to carve my notches on. No skin of my own to tattoo the names on, or even little score marks. Each time I take a little bit of whoever it was with me, sure, but to separate them out would be like trying to name each grain of sand on a beach. You get to Ricky, Mickey, Dickie, Mo, and you're already tired of it. Can you imagine trying to keep track of all of them? It's hard enough to keep track of my money. I was a young guy once, had good speed and a decent cross. The truck took one on the chin, but ended up breaking my elbow, beat me to death with a useless arm. I was an old guy, too, with a few bullet scars and a tattoo of an anchor. Figured maybe this one had grit and the others didn't. Some, I don't know what, that might pull us through, but no, the truck drowned me in my blood through collapsed sinuses. A businessman. A stripper one time, a lawyer, a bus driver, more hobos than I'd like to think about. A crowd of bodies of every shape and color and size and disposition, like lemmings, herded over a cliff onto the waiting fists of the truck below, dashed, damned, destroyed again and again, until you could fill a tenement block with all the angry ghosts I keep lugging around with me, yelling at me each Friday night in the locker room. But that's the thing about odds, right, babies? You lose more than you win. I'll tell you, a real schmuck once said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting different results. Baloney. The crock of it is that you can't ever do the same thing again. Not really. There are no true mulligans. No do-overs or backsies or rewinding all the way and pressing play to do it again. That really would be crazy. Instead, every time you do that thing, even if it's again and again, other things are changing. New conditions, different actors, a different time. Hell, you're a different person too. And the real change, the actual key, is that this as of yet immovable object that keeps meeting your heretofore not quite unstoppable momentum, well, every prior action changes that one too. That's how a trickle of piss carves a canyon. Like each puff of a cigarette, you might hit that one time that the molecules interact just right or just wrong and bloom into cancer. You're never the same train, hitting the same wall, the same straw on the same camel's back. Every time is a brand new beginning and a brand new chance at coming out on top. You just gotta keep spinning again and again to see where it lands. Keep spinning, and one Friday night, babies, you'll come up a winner. A real winner this time. Young, muscular, arms like suspension bridge cables, so much hell on legs that the guy who replaced Don, Tom or Jones or something, doesn't even want to let you in. Sure, it takes a while, and by the time I get there, the crowd around the pit is a shadow of what it was in its heyday. But those real ones, those true believers, they'll holler for the punch and scrape, the old grab and tear, just as much as ever. It's us old gamblers that keep things running, keep things going. And when the truck comes out tonight, oh babies, I can see the fear in his eyes. He's got this haunted look, like the broken windows of an empty house before the wrecking ball comes. It's a fight in name only. Maybe all these years of subpar bodies have weakened him, made him too used to crushing housewives and deadbeats and ordinary people. I must have finally tired him out killing half the city because I got a few good cracks in and he could barely put his hands up. I bend a few of his fingers the wrong way until they give. One of his shoulders goes pop real loud and then hangs loose. He gets a good taste of my knuckles and then an up-close view. Somewhere after the first minute, he seems to just give up and take it. Oh, I am enjoying this. Just do it, he finally says, rolling his neck up as an offering. His pale eyes tremble behind his red mask. I've been waiting. The crowd of people is muttering, not cheering. But my head full of ghosts, all those drops of water that wore away this mountain of a man, they're angry. Is this it? They're saying, this old man, his hair is gray and his limbs are soft. This is what you did it to all of us for? For this broken down thing? Shut up, though, babies. Shut up and you'll see. And you know why I'm doing this? I grab his throat and start squeezing. You finally recognize me? He gurgles, face purple like a bruise. No. The murder starts in my shoulders, surges down my arms and sizzles into the clamp around his neck. This is it, the grand reveal that I told you was coming, since all the way back when. Shut up! I let out the roar that's been building for more lifetimes than I'd care to count, shouting all the gathered voices into silence and demanding their witness. Shut up and let me tell you. Let me just. But I got nothing. No matter how deep I thrust into the chowder and wet toilet paper of these coagulated memories, pawing through the gabble and the jive, that part that was only mine just sinks further out of reach. A silver coin spinning into a stagnant fountain, a teardrop hitting the vanishing point on the horizon. Everyone, living and otherwise, stares at me as I come up snake eyes. We all look down together into this Friday's hands, where the truck has already quietly expired without any fanfare or ado, just passed on into the night, leaving this broken and soiled thing behind. The crowd around the pit begins to boo. The crowd inside joins them.